Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is doing our Plankerton Store and Shield Defense Level 4 solo. So I'm going to cover some of the gameplay in this video and talk about some of the things that I used in order to achieve this by myself. So it you could, always invite people, yeah, but just showing that, you can do things solo if you do things right, and you don't necessarily have to have a full party as long as you manage your defenders and your mission personnel appropriately. So um, this is my base on Plankerton, and as you can see, we got the first wave coming in. I do have some defenders set up. If you're doing this solo, basically what you have to remember is when you slot your mission defenders, you can slot up to 3 of them. And the reason that they're there, and those 3 there, the reason why you have 3 in those slots is because when you're doing a mission, or as in this case a shield defense, which is technically a mission, if you're doing it by yourself and you don't have any other people with you, you can have up to a party of 4, so that allows you to slot up to 3 people for your mission. So that's the way you have to look at it. Then you have your defenders as well for your particular base. So each area has their own defender slots, and as you unlock them, you're able to put defenders in them, and then you're able to use them on that particular base. You'll notice that those, once they're slotted on your defenders, you can't use them in your missions, and vice versa. So, essentially, by yourself, if you're doing a solo, you could have up to 3 mission defenders with you, and yourself. So that's 4 people. And then, however many defender slots you have unlocked for your base, you can add those as well. So, if you had 3 defender slots, add that in with the 3 missions and yourself, essentially you can have 7 people defending your base right now. So that's how you really can do these missions effectively by yourself without having to have other people with you. Now granted, you do have to arm all these guys, and you have to give them ammo, so it's, you're going to use some resources. But as you can see, I'm using a defender here, and that's one of my base defenders. I moved him to that pod. I don't remember how many I use in this mission, so we'll see how we go. I'm using that 35 slot one is a mission defender, I believe. Excuse me. And then that's actually a base defender. I could put more. I don't think I do. I only had so many. But I really only have like 4 people more right now, but I want to say I have at least 2 base defenders slots unlocked on this particular base, plus 3 mission defenders. So essentially, I could have up to 6 people right now, but I only have 4 of us out. It looks like right here. Then, as you learn the ways of where the spawns are coming from, doing these defenses, you can set up traps, and you'll see in certain spots I have what are basically like funnels. Like that's a funnel right there. There is a wave that could potentially spawn on the south side and come this way if they're coming after this particular amplifier, and that funnels it through them, funnels it through there, and basically makes it to where you don't have to sit there and kill the waves or the husks, because it takes them out for you. Makes it a lot more easy to do this by yourself. Of course, each of the amplifiers are beefed up with traps and some protective stuff as well, but one of the things to think about and remember when making your funnels is that the AI is always going to look for the easiest way to get to whatever its objective is. So if it's going after amplifier A, or in this case it's amplifier B, wherever that wave's coming from, it's going to try to look for the easiest and quickest way to get to amplifier B. As you can see right now, it's just a wide open spot, so they're just going straight for amplifier B. If I had some things set up on the base to funnel them, then they would start looking for the weakest or least resistance way in order to get between the point where they spawn and where amplifier B is at this moment. So it looks like I ran out of ammo on that gun. That's the only bad thing with running a ton of defenders, is you have to put ammo in all these guys. So Normally I would have extra ammo in my storm shield, and just for the defenders. That way, whenever I outfitted the defenders with all the necessary weapons and ammo they needed, I could then go and get ammo for myself, and I wouldn't have to worry about being low on ammo. So now they're going after Amplifier C. Do have a little sky bridge here that way we can jump across. I'm going to put a defender here, and see, I have defender spots here as well. They're coming after this defender, this amplifier though, from the north. So as you can see, I have a little funnel right here at the base, because this is the one. That's not the only way. There's another way they can go up the backside, but this is one of the ways that they can come up to this particular spot. And I'm just trying to choose my personnel most efficiently. See, I have an assault rifle there, but I have snipers to where they can shoot more long range. But since they're coming this way, they're trying to find the path of least resistance yet quickest way there. So they're all following up that ramp, because on the other side of that ramp is the amplifier. And in that particular funnel, I have a bunch of traps, and I have it set up with half walls or small walls to kind of guide the husk in a pattern that they can't just run straight through. They have to kind of weave their way through that area there. And the way the AI works, like I said, they look for the least resistance, but also what they're going to do is, if you have a 3-tile area, for instance, you could set up 2 flat walls and then leave an open spot. And if they're going to choose between that 3-tile area, they're going to go for the open spot every time. If it's 3 flat walls they're coming into and they don't have an open spot or a path of least resistance, as you can see, there's a little bunch of ways to funnel through. They're going to go ahead and find the weakest point of that particular section of walls and go after that and attack that. So that's what you need to remember when setting up these funnels. Is in a 3-tile area, you want to have a couple walls, a funnel, an opening, then a couple more walls and an opening, however you want to place it that way. And that should make them funnel into your funnel, so to speak. But as you can see, they're all coming through here. They're weaving through. There's traps in there. There's things that slow it down so they stay in the traps longer. I could do full launchers in here. That would be another way to slow it down. I could also have put a spot right here in this back corner. Instead of an ejection pad, I could have put a defender spot in here where I have an actual defender in this area shooting the husk as they came through. It's really cheap. It's made out of wood. Depending on the actual storm shield map you're on, Candy Island, you probably want to use at least brick, maybe some metal stuff there, or Candy Valley. On this one here, wood seems to work alright, but as long as you take out the propane guys can blow through it real fast. If you don't have any propane guys though, the husk really ignore the walls and don't really mess with the walls at all. They tend to just keep funneling through this pattern to try to find their way through. So wood is okay, you just have to make sure you take out the propane guys, and you also need to make sure you take out the what is it, the flingers, but the chicks that throw the skull. See, I'm adding another guy here real quick. But this wave is going to actually spawn way on the back side, and so there really isn't a way to beef up this side here because the actual force field is right on the other side of where I'm at, so it's hard to put an actual funnel or anything here. But the way it's set up, when they spawn, they have to come up this one little ramp, and so my ninja in particular, it's really easy for him to just hold that area. And if anything got by, I have the 2 snipers, and then I also put the pistol guy up there, and there's also an assault towards the bottom. But as you can see, they all come this way, and they basically come up that ramp. Now there is an opening just to the left of where they're at, where they could go that way if they were smart enough, but being I have no resistance right here, they just want to go straight up that ramp. They want to come straight towards the Amplifier C because it's just the path of least resistance, and that's how the AI basically works. So keep that in mind when making your defenses. You don't have to sit there and build a ton of walls, but if you do the walls correctly and funnel in the right areas where you need to funnel, you can make them basically go through a kill zone or a kill squad in a way with defenders and traps, and essentially do these things solo and make it a lot easier on yourself and on your ammo and your base without having to repair. Because if they're not really attacking anything, because they're not having any resistance, they're just running into traps, that's a whole lot less for them to damage and for you to have to repair later. So just keep that in mind. Some other tips I would say when doing this solo is, see, I'm gonna be a little ballsy here, taking these guys on without using my traps or my defenders in the back, but that's just the way I like to play the ninja. Base up front and just dash through everything. But the other tip I would add is for walls themselves, there's a way to set up a wall to where it makes it very discourageable for them to attack it. I can cover that in another video. But basically, you put a wall right behind the wall, you put a tile right behind that, but you take out 2 of the slots when you're designing it to where that it gives it like a half wall, so to speak. So it's like half a tile with a half wall, and then you put a ramp or a slope roof over that, and essentially the AI looks at that and looks at it and says, I have to go through a wall, I have to go through another barrier with the half wall and tile combo, and then I have to go through a ramp. So there's 3 things I have to break through if I want to get to my objective. And by using that in conjunction with your funnels in the open areas, it's going to say 3 walls, open area, let's go for open area. And that's basically how they work. So I can cover that in another tip video, but that's solo Plankerton Storm Shield Defense 4. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and collect our loot, and what we'll do is come back into our Storm Shield and we'll look to see how much damage we actually suffered structure wise with being solo, basically. So and you're basically using the traps and the ways that we set up the base to funnel enemies and see how much repairing we actually have to do, and you can kind of get an idea based off of that compared to when you do a storm shield defense and how your traps are set up, and then how much repairing and damage you have afterwards that you have to repair. So let's go ahead and get back in. Let's go ahead and do that.
Commander, you might want to tune into our broadcast.
And we are mere moments away from flipping the switch that will double our broadcast radius. And thanks to Ray and her blue glow wizardry, our signal will now reach the entire
probably cover
Plankerton
the
area.
walls here if we see it, and
Survivors will be filling our shelters
you
in
can
no
kind of see
time.
how they're set up, but
Check it out.
you definitely
We've
get the
got a
traps a little bit
shelter.
more probably,
And
and
another. Ooh, and
discuss
another.
that once we get in here. Come on, video. Almost there. Well, I say we're almost there. It's taking its sweet time loading. It's definitely server side. It's not PC side. This game's on SSD, so can't load any faster on this end. Here we go. Alright, so we're in. As you can see, I have a ton of traps. This was all built early on before we started expanding and experimenting with the different waves and directions that we come from. But this is one of the sides that they attack from. Nothing's needing repair here. Nothing took damage this way. That excuse me, that big wall breaker or bruiser or whatever came in there in that area, but he didn't hit anything apparently. And then looking at the actual amplifier itself, doesn't look like anything took damage. So if they made it this far, if they weren't picked off by myself and the defenders, they did not do any damage to the actual amplifier itself. And we didn't have any funnels at all in front of this amplifier to prevent them from, or slow them down from getting here as quickly as possible. That was just defenders, myself, and then whatever traps that we have in this area. So but nothing up here damage, so no flankers any damage up here. Let's go check out, that's another funnel from the north side. If you know where the wave comes there, that funnel actually works really well. If these pads are placed correctly, you can see that. Okay, we had a little bit of damage up here because that was squared off. What's over on this side? This is where the first wave came from, up on the west side, dropping down. So we got a little bit of repair there. Nothing. No repair there. No damage. Okay. Oh, missed a jump. What about the roof? From flingers or nothing? No. They're okay. That's okay. So the couple of things on the wall knockbacks, but nothing major. So no, this is the south side they spawned on. I'm sorry. They do spawn on that west area right there and drop down. But okay, had a little bit of damage to the floor, which is expected considering they came through here. Nothing there. This area didn't get any damage. A little bit there. Minor. All minor damage. So again, a wave came through here and with that gauntlet, roughly very minor damage. Very little resources having to be used to repair. So that's a defender spot. Yeah, if you look down there, that's a funnel from that area up top. If they come this way, they'll drop down into this, and it's kind of like death for them when they come that way. Being that it's made out of wood, it is kind of key to take out the propane guys as fast as possible, because they will wreck that little wooden structure right there. No, I missed a jump. Alright, so this one was from the north, that wave. We did have a couple things here at the top from things being thrown. Even those wooden walls held up pretty decent considering they had a big explosion underneath. That was fine. That's all fine. Okay. Now the funnel took some damage from a propane guy, if you saw that in the video. So propane guy did all this damage. If it wouldn't have been for him, this would have held up quite nicely and would not have been an issue at all. So yeah. Repair that. See, that's all fine. Repair that. Yeah. So the propane guy did the damage right here, but everything that wasn't wood actually held up. So again, easy way to fix that if you can't pick off the propane guys fast enough is to simply make it out of brick or metal, and that'll reinforce it a little bit more. There is a 3-wall structure behind those there, just because I didn't want them dropping off to go after the base. This is just regular walls, nothing, no damage. Oh, a little bit of damage. So there, and there. Nothing there, nothing there. Right above us, there was wooden floors. So yeah, right there, and that got taken out from one of those screeching flingers. So we could probably rebuild that with stone in hindsight now, being that we know that they're going to go right up in there and just keep throwing at the amplifier. So, but the other ones didn't take any damage. It was right here in the front. So again, relatively low damage taken, relatively minor repairs. I can't get to the chest. I missed my chance to get the chest out there when I was fighting the waves. But again, not a whole lot of damage here. So really easy to do by yourself solo if you do things right, and really effective if you put your traps down in the right spots. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll do a tip video later, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.